What's up, guys? Today I am bringing you another video, and it is going to be this month's wrap up for August and my TBR for next month, which I can't believe it's already going to be September. Where did the summer go? I mean, what the heck, it's already back to school almost, which terrifies me. Not terrifies, but I'm just like, I don't want to go back. But yeah, so this month's reading was kind of not so good in the beginning and middle, but more to the end of the month it improved a little bit, and I actually have gotten back into reading a little bit more since I had finished my summer reading in this month actually, but like I had gotten more so into casually reading because in July I only read like 4 books. So yeah, so let's just get into the video. The first book that I finished in the month was actually a book that I started in July but never ended up finishing, so I finished in August, and that was The Remedy by Suzanne Young. This is the prequel to the program duology, which I've read and loved, and it's kind of dealing with sort of kind of the events that lead up to what happens in the program duology, kind of, sort of, but anyway, I ended up rating this only 3 stars. It was an interesting idea, and the plot was interesting, and it was addicting to read, but there was really annoying insta-love near the middle. It just didn't feel realistic at all and way too forced, and also the ending was not enough for me. I was left with many unanswered questions, and unfortunately this didn't really add much to the original series. I just felt like it was kind of unnecessary, and I was even more mad with how it ended way too quickly. And I found out after I read this that it's going to be a sequel for this. So it's going to be a prequel duology for the program duology, which, why? That's kind of stupid. Like, there's, the point of a prequel is to have one, not a whole prequel series. I don't know, I just thought that was kind of dumb, and I probably won't pick up the sequel to this because I thought it just should have been one whole book, just, you know, instead of 2. The next book that I completed in August was another one that I started in July but didn't finish, and that was The Lessons of St. Francis by John Michael Talbot, which I also ended up rating this 3 stars. It was easy to read, yet a lot of the quotes that the author was saying I felt I either agreed or disagreed with. I was very conflicted with them sometimes. Also, the author was contradictory at times and unrealistic to the everyday person, and most of the facts and information in this book was stuff that I already knew, so it didn't really add much to my knowledge. Then I ended up reading Perfect Ruin by Lauren DeStefano from the library, and I also rated this one 3 stars. It was an interesting idea, but I felt like it was poorly executed. The plot felt very drawn out, and I felt like if it was condensed a little bit more and put a little bit more action into it, it would have been more interesting, because honestly I was bored at times, and also the ending wasn't really enough for me. And I know this is a series, but I felt like there should have been a little bit more to the ending, because I feel like it's just like saying like pick up the sequel, like trying to get you to get the next book to read. I did like the writing though, that was a good point of it. The next book I read this month was another one from the library, and that was Nerve by Jeanne Ryan, which, can you guess the rating? I rated it 3 stars. I did find the plot to be fast-paced, and it was very interesting and definitely addicting, but this book had one of the worst insta-love cases, like probably of all time that I've ever read. One of the worst, where literally they were like, oh, I love you, in like probably like 2 or 3 days, and I'm not even kidding. And also, again, with the not enough with the ending, it was not enough. it was basically pretty much a cliffhanger, and I did not like that. And also the main character annoyed me because sometimes she would do stupid things for like very shallow reasons, and that was annoying sometimes. Then I read the first really good book of this month to break the 3-star chain, and you're never gonna guess what it is, and I'm so proud of myself that I finally read it. I finally read Rune and Rising! So yeah, this is the final book of the Grisha trilogy, and I'm so glad that I read it this month because it was probably the first great book that I read this month. I rated it 4.5 stars. I just really liked this book overall. It was way better than the second book in the Grisha trilogy. For the most part, the plot was really rich and very interesting, although the middle started to get a teensy bit boring, and that's when I put it down for a little bit, probably for like a couple days. But once I picked it back up and got past the middle, it got really good again. And also, I really liked the ending to the series. I've heard that not a lot of people like the ending to the series. However, I thought it was probably the perfect ending. I guess it kind of depends on which character you like in this series. But whatever, I like this ending, and that's really all that matters. And the last book that I completed this month was a graphic novel, and it was Deadly Class Volume 1 by Rick Remender, Wes Craig, and Lee Loughridge. And I really liked this graphic novel. The art style was very eye-catching. The colors used were like so interesting. It was just a very unique art style. Like, let me show you just some examples. I don't know, I just really liked it, and the plot was interesting for the most part, and I will probably be picking up the other books in this series, actually including this one because I got this from the library. But yeah, I'll probably be buying this and the other books in the series and continuing the series because this was actually pretty good. I also started Breathe by Sarah Crossan near the end of this month as just to start something to read. And I'm about like 44 pages into it. I'm reading it on iBooks. Now on to my September TBR. My first thing for September is probably to finish any unfinished things that I have, which I just told you that I started Breathe by Sarah Crossan, so I'll probably have that as one of the books for my September TBR. One of the books I want to read in September is Sweet by Emmy Laybourne, which I've already started, as you can see. Even though August isn't even over yet, because today is the last day of August, right? Yeah, so it's not even August yet, but yeah, this will be on my August TBR, and I'm really excited for this because obviously Emmy Laybourne, I've read her Monument 14 trilogy, and I really liked it, so hopefully I'll enjoy this as well. Also on my TBR for September is Pawn by Amy Carter. This is the first book in the Black Coat Rebellion. I got this from the library, and I've been wanting to read this for a long time, so I finally got it from the library so I can read it this month. I'd also like to read I Am the Messenger by Marcus Zusak in September because I've wanted to read it ever since I got it, like, really bad, but I was already reading stuff in August, so I didn't want to just like start it randomly out of nowhere. So I really want to read this for September. I've heard great things about it. I'd also like to read Death Note Volume 1 Boredom by Tsugumi Oba and Takeshi Obata just to get started on this series. This is the first volume in the Death Note manga series. But anyway, I got this like 2 months ago, I think. In like May. Yeah, so I'd like to get started on this series and read this, and this is manga, so like kind of a type of comic, so I should get through it fast. So I kind of wanted to read this to see if I wanted to continue this series or not. So yeah, and finally on my TBR for September is Tempest by Julie Cross. I need to get started on this series. This was on my TBR for probably the past 2 months, and I still haven't like read it, so I should probably at least get started on it. It's in September finally. That's what happened with Ruin and Rising, though. I had it on my TBR for like 3 months, and then I only just read it in August. So, well, hopefully I will at least get started on this in September because I want to at least read Tempest to get started on this trilogy and see if I like it or not. Alright, that's it for this wrap up and TBR video, and I will see you guys next time. What are some books that you really liked this month that you've read, or did you read some books that you didn't like? Let me know, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!